back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, and it's Pro Wrestling Weekly. It's Wednesday, of course. Just have to save things here all the time. There's problems with Twitter at the moment, or something like that for some reason. It's not liking streaming to Twitter at the minute. Don't know what's
there's
going
always
on.
problems with Twitter. It's Twitter.
Yeah.
What we expected.
Yeah, so I carved it out anyway. Well, as always, folks, it's Wednesday. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly. Me and Russ are on your screens. We have an action-packed show for you tonight. We're going to be reviewing a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about the road to Cleveland. We're well and truly on it now. SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer coming up. We are on the road, of course, to All In Wembley as well. We're going to be talking about AEW celebrating Dynamite tonight. 250th episode, stacked card. We'll talk about that as well. We're going to do a review of Raw. We're going to talk about a reaction to Cena's retirement. We're going to be talking about sections of Cody Rhodes' interview on Chris Van Vliet. We're going to be giving you a shakedown of the SummerSlam card. What have we got? New Japan reaction to AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. Tony Khan, as always, delighting us with another little bit of clickbait talking about Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge's career. We'll talk about that. We'll give you a shakedown on the top 10 title changes in SummerSlam history, and you can jump in and add on that and all. We'll be talking about 11 years of the Performance Center. Where has the time gone? How successful has it been? And, you know, how instrumental it's been to WWE when you look at its roster today. We're going to touch on the Owen Hart Cup, as we always do. Always a difficult one for me. Don't know about you, Russ, but obviously it's in AEW, so it feels a little bit strange, but we know why it's not in WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, I might be young, but I know the story behind Owen Hart.
So it's a tough one. But there was a couple of nice little touches on it and some backstage interviews really that pulled on the heartstrings and all with Jeff Jarrett and stuff. So we'll touch on that. We'll also touch on some information that came out this week about WWE trademarks, where people thought there was a change to it, but actually there wasn't. So we'll get into that as well. Where else are we? So let's get into the chat first of all. Make sure, folks, subscribing and hitting the bell notification button as well to let you know when we go live. It's generally every Wednesday, but sometimes we change it up. Sean is in the chat. Big up, Sean. Are you back from France? Let us know. How did you get on? Good to see you there. Also, Sean, we're going to be talking. We have a build-up to Scrapper Mania that we're going to have you on for as well. So don't forget that. Daz is in. What's the crack? Big up, Daz. Good to see you. And DJ Taz is in the building. Big up, DJ Taz 316. Hi, all. Good to see you. Welcome. Lovely to have you in the chat. I like that. DJ Taz 316. Covering all the bases. That's what we want. That's what we want. Right, let's start. Let's talk about Raw. Let's get Raw done. Yes. Mommy returned on Monday night.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, and this triangle is growing very, very quickly.
It is.
Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I personally am loving this story. I feel like my opinion of all about Judgment Day right now is that they're so stale. They are just turning into your typical faction. We've got the tag team champions. We've got a world champion. There's turmoil in between it all. I just feel like it's getting a little bit done and a little bit boring. And I think I said it last week in regards to Damian Priest. I feel like he's becoming a weak champion because of the interferences that is going in his matches. But this is where I like having the Judgment Day with Dom and Rhea. It makes Dom actually seem important to a story instead of just being a side piece. It feels like we are finally getting that Dom in the center between Liv and Rhea, which we all knew was building up to. And I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see the dynamic of Rhea and Dom, despite them making up on Monday, when it comes to him versus Liv, because obviously before Rhea came back, he was this close to him finally giving in. So I wonder if that's going to play into the match or not.
Yeah. I thought the location of Raw this week was an apt name. It was from the Nutter Center at Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio. So it's certainly the name of the place fitted the billing, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go down through. What did you make Sheamus? Sheamus against Bronson Reed. Pete Dunne getting involved.
Right. If we're leading up to a Pete Dunne versus Sheamus match, I'm all for it. I would kill to see Pete Dunne versus Sheamus, especially at SummerSlam. Because I can't lie, we've been getting a really, really like lessened down version of Pete Dunne. And if we're getting the full Pete Dunne at SummerSlam against Sheamus, knowing how well both of them are in the ring, we're in for a banger of a match. I hope they do go somewhere with this instead of it just being, oh, it's just an attack and it's just going to go back to NXT. Nah, build something off this. This could be an amazing match, and it's with two British superstars. So it could potentially show a sign of more UK superstars being entered into WWE and getting the spotlight.
Yeah. Before we move off that, Reed's tsunami is scary as hell, isn't it?
It is.
I can't
It
imagine
really
what it's
is.
like to be lying down and that's coming at you. Must be the scariest thing ever. The other thing we have to highlight, and we've highlighted it before as well, Sheamus's new entrance. Good lordy.
I don't like his new music.
Terrible.
I don't like his new
Terrible.
music at all. Just please, why didn't they just keep written in the face? That's what it should have stayed as.
100%.
Just
100%. What did you make of Sonya Deville? Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark defeated Selena Vega in just over a minute.
I am not a big fan of Sonya Deville. I never really have been. I've just never really thought that she's entertaining. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, on the other hand, I do particularly enjoy, and I don't see why there's this big faction going on between the three of them. I just don't. Shayna Baszler should be on her own. She should have the NXT heat that she had. And it just kind of seems like they've no clue what they're doing with her. Because they've put her in tag teams. They've made her go to WrestleMania to lose. And since then, she's not done anything substantial. And it's just getting a little bit annoying now.
Do you know what I find with the women's division? I think they're having to put clusters together now because they've so much talent. And I think that's a real problem. And that's why I don't think they have that room or space on the shows each week to involve all of them. So they have to do these 6 women's or women's tags and all that kind of stuff just to kind of fit it in. And it just feels kind of thrown together a lot.
It does.
Obviously, we're looking forward to Damian Priest versus Gunther. We got the face-to-face to build up the SummerSlam.
Yes, that is going to be an absolutely amazing match if Damian Priest wins. The reason why I say if Damian Priest wins is because Gunther, I feel right now, as big as he is and as much hype as he is going into SummerSlam, I feel like if we take the belt off Priest now, it won't be a good representation of his title reign. I feel like it would just be a weak title reign, and we waited for nearly a year to get this title reign, and you're going to make him look weak and have him lose to Gunther, 3 months after? How long has it been to WrestleMania? 3 months?
Yeah, true. Well, three PLEs anyway, is it? 4 PLEs? 3 PLEs?
Yeah, 3. Because we had Seth Rollins come back for Money in the Bank, and that was after...
this will be the 4th one, actually, didn't we? Because we had the King and Queen of the Ring as well, so which is regarded as a PLE as well. So
yeah. So this is what, the 4th PLE. So it's his 4th proper defense, and he's just going to lose it. And that, to me, it just don't seem, good for his title reign. It doesn't seem good for him overall, because if you booked him to beat Braun Strowman and then lose to Gunther, nah, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah. What did you make of the Strowman match? Damian Priest Strowman. Obviously Strowman with the leg injury and stuff like that, but it was kind of set up really for the afters after it, wasn't it really?
Yeah, the match was there just to promote Damian Priest versus big people. Yeah. So I don't really know what to make of it, because Gunther's a whole different beast to Braun Strowman. And also, sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that Braun Strowman's been feuding with every single member of the Judgment Day for some reason. It just don't make sense. It's not going to go any. It's not going to do anything off it. So just a bit of a.
It's kind of like he's the guy at gorilla position when someone needs a run in.
Yeah.
Or something, and they just go, Braun, you're here, go. But none of it adds up or makes any sense, really.
No, it's just weird. It just feels like he's there just to be like, right, okay, we need a quick what's it called? We need a quick pop. Go.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you don't get the pop. Romy's in. Big up, Romy. Hats off to you, Romy. I was giving you your props earlier. We're going to be talking about Stephanie Fakura. You got it spot on last week. So
Yes.
cheers for that. Absolutely awesome. I think Triple H will have Damian Priest drop title at Bash in Berlin against Walter. That could be the case where he holds it at SummerSlam, drops it in somewhat Walter's home territory, let's say, yeah.
I just don't think Gunther should be there right now. And I don't think it would make sense if like Drew McIntyre has been screwed out of the belt in his hometown. Why are they going to change it for Gunther? Why would Gunther get some special treatment?
It's kind of what they do, though, isn't it? Isn't it kind of what they do?
Yeah, but I just feel
everyone's kind of expecting it somewhat at SummerSlam, so it doesn't happen at SummerSlam, and it happens at Berlin. Or they could flip the card where he gets it at SummerSlam, but would they take it off him in Berlin? But then that's kind of
that wouldn't make sense. If you're gonna put the World Heavyweight on Gunther, then it's gonna be a lengthy reign. So
yeah, absolutely. Priest and Gunther face off reminded me of Timu, Eddie, and Lesnar face to face before No Way Out.
That were a great build up to that match actually. With Eddie versus Lesnar. That was amazing.
Wasn't a bad result either.
No. It was an amazing result. The crowd loved it. So
absolutely.
I feel like I feel like Priest should get the win over Gunther at SummerSlam. However, we don't know what WWE is cooking.
Yeah. And Acers reckons that Gunther will be champion until WrestleMania 41 night 1.
But that's who would beat him? But this is the thing, though.
Depends what way we're thinking. Big John Cena, maybe. Who knows?
Nah. I'd say I'd say if you want a good WrestleMania match with Gunther with high stakes to beat him, Ilya Dragunov.
Do you know, I had a theory about how things are going to go. You love my theories on these shows anyway, they're crazy. But I had a theory that once this bloodline thing all happens at SummerSlam, and if we get Roman back and everything else, I was kind of thinking, if the bloodline are going to feud against the other bloodlines, so bloodline A and bloodline B, whatever way you want to do it, it takes Cody and the belt kind of out of the picture for a while. So is this where we get Randy Orton then potentially going after the belt and winning the belt off Cody? And then I was thinking, if Randy won the belt off Cody, could Randy be the guy to then face John Cena at WrestleMania for the belt and crown number 17? With Randy being so close with it as well, and John Cena, lots of history, plenty of build-up, could be electric.
Could be. No, I feel like if we got another John Cena title reign, it would be very, very reminiscent of the 2017 Royal Rumble. Or was it 2018? 2017. Where he wins it and then just loses it the next month.
Romy's in. Rhea, Liv, Dom, and Jay love thing reminds me of a soap opera. It's like Love Island. It's like Love Island. It's wrestling's answer to Love Island. I tell you, I was quite excited when Adam Pearce dropped his little kind of, his little segment, his prelude to Raw, if you like. And Drew McIntyre coming back and they were going to sort it out all. I thought that segment was crap.
Honest. Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the whole, you have to apologize to these guys and all. I thought it was kind of, it was somewhat belittling, but it didn't sit with me for some reason. I just didn't like it.
It was cheap heat. That's all they're trying to get. They're trying to get cheap heat.
Yeah. Wyatt's. The Wyatt 6. We have Bo Dallas in there, the reincarnation basically of Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
That's how it looked very much so. He has the look and all down. There's no doubt about it. But what did you make of the whole thing with Chad and all that kind of stuff? And then obviously we got the tape with Eric Rowan as well, and we got the
deep. The Eric Rowan one hit deep because he was talking about loss, and Obviously, Eric Owen recently lost Bray Wyatt, and then a couple of years after he lost Brody Lee. So, yeah, it hit deep knowing how the wrestling community was impacted by those deaths. The Wyatt 6 segment overall, with Bo Dallas coming out and whatnot, the only substantial thing that I actually took from that was that we're finally getting the Creed brothers and Chad Gable, which is what we needed for a little bit, because we don't know what's going on with Alpha Academy right now. I think we're going to go back to being the Jobber Squad again. But with the Creed brothers, they're as close to like a team angle that we're going to get, because they're also Olympians. So it would be, it's interesting to see where that goes. And if it goes into a Wyatt 6 versus Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, then fine. But I just feel like they could do like a, do you remember The Way from NXT?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that, where it's like they're in this faction and their main goal is to help the leader of the faction. That would be arguably what's better for them.
What do you make of this in there from Acers at the moment? He reckons Cody is losing the belt until WrestleMania 41 Night 2. Cody Rhodes at the moment, I think he's 100 days in, was the other day. How have you felt about it 100 days in? And this is for the chat as well. How have you felt about Cody Rhodes 100 days in as champion? You know, and if he's to get to all the way to WrestleMania Night 2, you're talking about what, another 9 months maybe?
You see, so with Cody's title run, I think he's only had, 3 opponents? And that's AJ. AJ, Logan Paul, and then he's going to come up and face Solo. AJ, yeah, okay, that was good. Logan Paul was there just to have a big money match. The solo match can go one of two ways. He wins, and he becomes this tribal chief, and then the belt is between Solo and Roman. Or he loses, and then we have no clue how we're going to get Roman back. Because I'd argue that for Roman to come back at SummerSlam, Solo needs to win. And then there's like a redemption arc with Cody to take the belt off Solo, so then they can go back to being the Cody story. So they go back to being Bloodline.
I tell you, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, with Roman interjecting in the storyline with the Undisputed Belt going against Cody with Solo, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, it kind of feels like this match is a setup just for Roman's return, really, more so than a title match, if you like. But I did say I am liking the Bloodline, and I said to you last week, these little things that Solo is doing now are really, really cool. They're starting to, come at me this way, and it's really, Jacob Fatu is just a monster. Yeah. Do you know he's so good, and Solo has upped his game as well. But the two boys are so good. The other two boys, they're kind of getting a little bit lost. They're not doing a whole lot, really. And you know what I mean? Yeah. You're kind of waiting for Jacob. Like the two boys that have these little stomps and these weird little weak punches. And then Jacob Fatu arrives and he's just clearing house, absolutely destroying lads, It's kind of weird the way the two boys are kind of being managed. They feel like they're nearly like, like WWE security allocated to the Bloodline or something like that, Feels weird.
I feel like they would try to do what the Usos did, but they can't. Where it's like the two people are just behind them, but they can't do it like the Usos, because the Usos went on a 600-day-long tag team title reign. They felt like they was important. Yeah. They just don't feel like they're important.
Absolutely. Raw Museum, Bo gave me Heath Ledger Joker vibes, getting beat up like Batman and Joker from Dark Knight. I liked it. Yeah, and he was kind of laughing through it a bit as well, wasn't he? He was kind of sneering at it and stuff like that. Yeah, kind of cool. When do we think Jimmy returns? I would assume SummerSlam. I don't think he'll return before, because I think when Jimmy hits the ring, Jimmy will have a decision to make, so it should be interesting. Romy's in. Cody is champion is bland like a Big Mac with no Big Mac sauce, just a burger and buns. Yeah, I think so as well. Big up, Kenny. How are you? Following Roman's title run was always going to be very difficult, particularly for a face. Cody turn would put more shine on the title. Yeah, that's a good shout. Real good
It
shout,
is.
actually. Zilla, my guy, needs signed ASAP. Well, the talk is he's signed, isn't he? The talk is he just hasn't
Yeah,
showed up. I reckon he's signed. Yeah, absolutely.
I,
And he's going to
I,
be a wrecking machine as well.
I reckon that with Zilla, I don't think he'll join the new bloodline. I think he'll join the old bloodline.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it
That
would.
would be very interesting. Ace is saying he's looking forward to seeing Oba Femi in the Royal Rumble match in February. Absolutely. And Bonkers is
Agreed.
in. Big up Bonkers. It's been a while. Good to see you, my friend. Roman could cost Solo, or could The Rock cost Cody the title?
The Rock isn't coming back until the build up to WrestleMania, in which he will build up The Rock versus Roman. It won't be for a
Yeah.
title, it will just
Mm.
be Rock versus Roman, maybe head of the table or something like that. After that,
You,
he's done.
you get the feeling, do you get the feeling like when Roman comes back, obviously we'll get the wise man as well. And
No,
you don't think so? You
no.
don't think so? We're getting the wise man back
I
as well on
think
that side?
no, I think Paul Heyman's done what he needs to do. He's put over Solo as this monster where like he will get anything he wants by force. He's he's done that. Now he's going to move on to someone else. I think they're going to either go back to CM Punk or, as much as I hate to say it, Braun Breaker.
But Heyman not due his revenge as well?
I don't think he'll do it.
I
I
think they
don't.
definitely will. And that's why I think, you know what I think they're going to do as well is I think The Rock as the final boss is going to go over on the other side of the bloodline and he's going to act somewhat like a Paul Heyman, like a wise man, but obviously at a greater level. That's what I think.
Yes.
I think that could be your setup for War Games in at Survivor Series. It's going to be interesting. Ian's in. What's a crack, lads? Good to see you, my friend. I'm now a believer of Joe Hendry. There you go.
Yes.
He's in. He's
Yes.
in. I tell you,
Yes. I told you.
got.
I told you.
I was saying before we came on, I got the shirts in the other day, and they're just flying out the door. Every time I mention the shirt, every time I mention Joe Hendry, someone comes up to buy a shirt. Just appears.
Say his name and
That's
he appears.
It was so good last night. So good
It's
against
yeah,
Gallows.
he is.
Awesome. Yeah. I think
And
at
the fact that they've
SummerSlam,
done the
Heyman. Yeah, go on.
fact that they've done the say his name and he appears by NXT is amazing.
Yeah,
Honestly.
absolutely. I think at SummerSlam, Heyman should come out first, then Roman, Jimmy, and Zilla follow behind him. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it?
No, what I think it
Yeah.
should be, I think it should be a case of Cody wins, Cody goes off, the bloodlines helping them up, right? And then you hear Jimmy's music, and then Zilla comes out after Jimmy, and they stand side by side, arms down like that. Then Roman's music plays, and it brings him back in like the tribal chief, just to say, "Yo, yeah, you're not the tribal chief. He is."
Imagine Solo's getting the pin at SummerSlam, and they do that camera angle again, and instead of Punk running in, what happens is they have Heyman running in to pull Solo off Cody. And
Yes.
then Heyman's there on his own, and the bloodline are following him up the ramp. And the next thing, Roman comes out onto the ramp, and Zilla and Jimmy and Jay and all. And man, it blows SummerSlam out of the building, wouldn't it? Really, he has to get
Yeah.
some revenge on. He was fighting Roman's corner, and he got the piss bad out of him. Of course, he has to get his revenge. This is Paul Heyman we're talking about here. Let's not get it twisted.
True.
Paul Heyman will come out during the WWE match and say, call Roman Reigns for Roman Reigns' return. There you go, Aces. I love the sound of that. Awesome. Hopefully, I'll be able to come aboard on the Wrestling Weekly podcast in the near future. Yeah, anytime you want to come on in, just let us know. Sorry, only coming back now. I was away, well down. Have to get the Scrapper show in the can. They had their last show before it on Sunday, and the Dublin Poster went out today. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. How was the show on Sunday? Were you at it? I seen Will was at it all right. He'll just be in the chat. Will was he put up pictures of himself and Eric Young and stuff like that, and also looked pretty cool. What about Cody versus The Rock? I don't know whether it's going to get to that point. I think I just don't know.
It won't be. We probably will not get a story off of that. Simply because the bigger match would be Roman versus The Rock.
Yeah.
I don't think.
And if the behind the curtain documentary is that and the Judge Boy, and the fact that it took them nearly 2.5 months to release it from editing it and stuff like that, I think Rock and Roman are all in for WrestleMania. That's
Hell, so the
100%.
yes.
Yes, absolutely. I missed the Roman team. It's a banger, as Seamus says. Yeah. Did you hear the new Seamus team? Good Lord, it's rotten. Rotten.
No, we're not talking about the Sheamus theme. God.
What if Heyman brought some ECW fellas to have a chat with the Bloodline?
Oh, right. If they're going to
That's
do
a
that,
stretch.
bring back RVD. Please bring back RVD. Because imagine the pop he would get.
Yeah. I don't know whether you could sell him to me as Uzi as much as they did with Sami Zayn, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, true.
Moose will retain TNA Championship at TNA Slammiversary. I would have thought so.
Yes, because Joe Hendry should be going for the NXT Championship.
Yeah.
And I believe he should be NXT champion.
Speaking of Royal Rumbles, I'd love to see Moose in the Royal Rumble in February. That'd be cool.
Okay, do you actually think we would get a full TNA WWE crossover with the Royal Rumble?
I don't think you get a full one, but you could at least pick maybe 2 for the women's and 2 for the men's or something like that. It'd be pretty cool.
My thing is that when I say a full TNA crossover, I don't mean people who are already established in NXT from TNA. I mean 2 people who we've probably never seen in a WWE ring from TNA into the Royal Rumble, like Moose, Eddie Edwards, just to give an example. I don't know if Eddie Edwards is still in it or not, but Eddie Edwards and Moose. Something like that. Do you think we'll get that? Or do you think they'll use the stars from TNA that they'll build up in NXT?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think they could use Moose, and I think they get a good pop for it and stuff like that. And he doesn't have to necessarily have any of that link with NXT and stuff like that and all. And I don't know. It depends what way they want to do it. I suppose it depends how this whole TKO umbrella keeps evolving and stuff like that as well. You know.
Who do you think they're going to collab with next?
The talk is Noah, isn't it? Aren't they creating a relationship with Noah, as far as I heard?
Yeah, with AJ Styles and Io Sky already going over there. I'd say a relationship is built.
Yeah, pretty much, I would imagine. And then you look at it and you kind of, what's left? I mean, are they going to pursue something down in Mexico, or maybe are they going to pursue something here in Europe? I don't know. It's hard to know what way they're going to go.
Long shot. I think they go for something in the UK Indies. Maybe What Culture, maybe ICW, but I think something in the Indies, in the UK, because we've got a lot of UK stars who haven't been in WWE or even NXT, like Simon Miller. He would go over massively in a WWE crowd, I believe.
Just check your connection there, Will. I'm getting a bit of feedback into my ears here. Just check and see if it's just double checking there. I'm not too sure. Romy 1 is in. What about if Lesnar returns at SummerSlam? He was a Heyman guy first. Yeah, I mean, they were looking at that. We talked about that 2 or 3 weeks ago, didn't we? This Heyman family thing. You could have Lesnar in there, Roman's in there. Depends what they want to do with Punk, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I think the more obvious route for them really is to go Bloodline versus Bloodline. I think that's how I think it will go. I would like to see Josh Alexander next in NXT. Yeah, great show. Seeing him actually at I think he wrestled on the G1 Climax. I think that I seen in Madison Square Garden some years ago.
Is it gone?
Yeah, it's good now. Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
I believe
my phone was on the desk, so it was just vibrating.
Yeah. Bonkers. I believe in Bo Dallas, not Joe Hendry.
No. Believe in Joe Hendry.
You'll convert, don't worry. Loving the WWE involvement in Josh Barnett's Bloodsport as well. Yeah, it's interesting.
Agreed.
Interesting. Bonkers is in with the Bo Live. There we go. GCW and WWE have a relationship. Nick Gage, NXT with the pizza cutter. Let's go. Absolutely not. There's no chance of that happening. WWE World War III Royal Rumble match. NXT, TNA, Raw, and SmackDown. Interesting. Imagine PCO in there. Seriously, lads, maybe this is why they're going to Netflix, because Netflix is where the Dark Order and all resides, isn't it? That is the dark web, Netflix. Maybe that's where this
Yeah.
all resides. You ain't getting this on TV. Not a chance. Not that PCO guy is a lunatic.
Oh,
Let's
did you
round out
hear
Raw
what's
then.
confirmed? Sorry.
No, go ahead, come on.
Did you hear about what's confirmed to be going on to Netflix?
No, I haven't heard anything. I haven't got an update on it now.
No, it's everything.
Oh, so the whole network.
Yeah, so live pay-per-views are going to be on Netflix. We're going to have Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I believe like main event and superstars are also going to be going on there as well. Basically, everything is going on to Netflix.
Mm.
So it's just going to be like a WWE network kind of thing. They're still going to be doing it, but that'll be more for pay-per-views. Netflix will be for like Raw, SmackDown, and whatnot.
Mm. Interesting. Right, quick rundown on Raw then. We spoke about Chad and the Bo Dallas segment. Jey Uso versus Dominic. Obviously, we got the usual knock onto each other with the
Yeah,
reaction and then Rhea coming out and stuff like that and all. And that laid down the marker for the match at SummerSlam, basically. And that kind of... Oh, we had the Intercontinental match as well. Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov. With Braun Breaker, of course, getting involved and absolutely cutting Ilya Dragunov literally in two.
yeah.
The
I don't.
squeeze.
Steiner privilege.
Yeah.
Steiner
I like it.
privilege.
I'm going to have to
I
get one
don't.
of those shirts. I might go on Steiner Privilege or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm all in on Braun Breaker. I like Braun Breaker,
No.
I have to say. So
Good
there
in
we
NXT.
go.
Good in NXT. Hate him in the main roster. Ilya
Yeah.
Dragunov is there, and I
Right.
believe Ilya Dragunov is a better wrestler.
Right. Let's talk SummerSlam.
Right.
How do you feel
Okay.
it's shaping up? Obviously, Logan Paul and LA Knight hasn't been confirmed yet, but it looks like it's going to happen anyway. It looks like that's
Oh
going to be
yeah.
the...
Yeah. So
Give us your thoughts on it.
okay. I could say one thing I'm not looking forward to, and that is Bailey versus Nia Jax. Automatically off the back, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to be looking forward to that match, for the simple fact of I'm not a big Nia Jax fan, and I do not really want her being women's champion. I don't see her as women's championship material. And if she does win, I'm hoping that Tiffany Stratton does cash in and have this big, big face turn. I can't do it. Right. The US title match, I'm in two halves because I love LA Knight. I feel like LA Knight should have been crowned at WrestleMania and not SummerSlam. But if Logan Paul loses, where is he going to go? Because I say he should eventually be in the world title picture. However, how long is he actually here for? Is he just going to do this contract and then leave and go back to doing media? Or is he going to be a full-fledged WWE wrestler?
Mm.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking about. I'm thinking Logan Paul, if he wins, then where's he going to go from there? And if LA Knight wins, what's going to happen with Logan Paul and where's he going to go? Because right now, you can't slip him into the world title picture again because he's only just recently had the world title match. So where's he going to go?
Yeah, I didn't get the feeling with Logan Paul that the US belt would be in any way a springboard to a world title. I think it was just timing on the US belt. But what we have seen is now when he's not around and the US title isn't around, there's a kind of a gap, isn't there, in the card there for a certain amount of guys, and there's nothing
Yeah.
really to shoot for. So it'd be nice. I think if LA Knight picks up the belt, I think he could run with the belt for a while as well, and he could face off. There could be some very interesting stuff there. I think with Logan Paul, I think Logan Paul is going to somewhat come, kind of a little bit like the way they selectively use Lesnar and stuff like that, just an attraction for bigger shows and stuff like that and all. And
Yeah, but I don't feel like he should be.
I don't know, it's his run in there, for a guy who's only been involved in the business a short time has been very, very impressive.
Oh yeah.
He's rarely let them down. He's done really, really well, and I'm kind of okay. I think a belt like the US belt. I kind of flip this a little bit. I think a belt like the US belt, I'm all right saying on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. I think it's more the main titles like the World Heavyweight and the Undisputed. I'm happy to see, every second week, every third week. I don't need to see it every week. They can do different things in different angles to still have the guys on the show, but it doesn't have to be defended. There doesn't have to be a match, and especially like when you look at it like, with SummerSlam coming up, it's quite obvious. Like they're there, they have Cody there versus Solo. You have Bailey versus Nia. So we know these belts aren't going anywhere over the next few weeks. Yet they
No.
put matches out there. So it's a little bit weird that way. Sean's not a fan of Jelly Roll. I love Jelly Roll. I'm a fan of Jelly Roll, I have to say.
Now
So there you go.
I can see where Sean comes from when it comes to the music. They've completely gone off like rock music and stuff like that, which is understandable. But at the same time, when you're bringing in artists like Jelly Roll, who I don't even know who he is, like it's only popular in America, that kind of thing, which I guess it gives them publicity. But aside from that, I just don't see the real point in it.
I think it works both ways. I think because the one thing we don't see over here sometimes is how big these guys are in the States. I think Jelly
Oh
Roll
yeah,
is pretty big in the States and stuff like that. And remember, that tends to be their focus before they look outside of those borders. You know what I mean? It's that American market, and then everything spawns from that. But I'm okay with it. I seen him on Rogan's podcast. He was really good. He's done some really good stuff. I like what he's doing and stuff like that. So, but listen, I'm a fan of the rock music. Don't get me wrong. I was at
oh
AC/DC two
yeah,
weeks ago, so I love my rock music as well. If you're going to tell me that Metallica or AC/DC are going in there, I'm all on for it. But I'm not hating on Jelly Roll either. You know what I mean? I like it.
yeah.
As I said to you before, my music taste is quite diverse and
Oh
wide,
yeah.
to say the least.
Yeah, you're polyamorous. It's called.
That's it. Big up to brother BKL Contreras, aka Sports Entertainment Guy. Love that. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to everyone in the chat, including the upper tier. Keep up the good work on the channel. Appreciate it. And shout out from South Bronx. South Bronx to the max. Shout out to everyone South Bronx. Thanks for joining us as always.
Really do appreciate it, man.
Daz is in. Who do you think Seth would face now he's back?
Don't know. I don't know. I don't really know where he fits into WWE now. If I'm being really honest with you.
He probably slides in somewhere into the Drew Punk situation, doesn't he? As some sort of a triple threat or something like that, or because obviously with Damian Priest lifting the ban, if you like, but Damian's going in a different direction now, heading to SummerSlam, so Seth doesn't really fit into that. So I don't know. He kind of came back out of nowhere as well, didn't he? So it was kind of hard to kind of figure out. Oh, he's back. He had this knee surgery and suddenly he's back, and it was like they brought him back before they realized kind of what they wanted to do and stuff like that, and it just kind of slotted in here and there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of a weird one, but they'll figure it out. He's too talented anyway, that's for sure.
Oh, agreed. He's always got a talent as Seth. Put him in the ring with
Cody.
anybody and you'll get a great match.
Yeah, Bonkers is in as well. Tiff will cash in on either Bailey or Nia. She doesn't need Nia.
Nobody needs Nia. Just
there you go. Bootleg bloodline. Rock gets you hyped for wrestling. Country makes me hyped for a jive. There you go. So if you get somewhere in the middle, there's somewhere between rock and country. Is that where we find Jelly Roll? There you go. Just for you, Bonkers, let's talk. Stephanie Vacour has joined. WWE bound Shawn Michaels tweeted it there the other day and all, apparently upsetting a few promotions by doing so as well. We know she dropped the New Japan belt to Mercedes Moné at Forbidden Door. Bonkers got it right straight off the bat last week when he informed us she was WWE bound. I wasn't too sure. I didn't realise the full story at the time that really she was just giving the belt back to New Japan through that match at Forbidden Door, which is unfortunate, but a great account for herself. She looks absolutely awesome. She has a great look. I think she's going to do really, really well. And it's WWE bringing in another market, that Chilean market as well, which is really, really cool as well.
Yeah, she made a debut in Mexico as well on a live
Yeah,
event.
but also getting a lot of heat as well from a couple of promotions as well, that she had a lot of dates booked that she now has cancelled, because it looks like she's heading straight to NXT by the looks of things. So of course we look forward to seeing her there. Never nice when you get cancellations, especially in promotions that are relying on them and stuff like that and all. But that's just how business rolls sometimes and stuff like that. You can't keep talent down when it happens. Really look forward to see her going in there. She has an awesome look, I have to say. So
She does.
yeah. Yeah, so really,
Her,
really look forward to it.
her versus Roxanne Perez.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
absolutely.
be a good match.
Naya's not as appalling as she used to be. Absolutely, she's improved greatly since she came back. Absolutely.
I just,
Uh,
I, I I just, I can't. I just don't see the appeal behind her. I can't.
mm. I don't know. Well, I suppose the appeal to her is that, in fairness, she has improved since before she went away. When she came back, she has done better. She's dropped a bit of poundage. She is looking better. She has improved on her wrestling and stuff like that. But she's something different as well. Rhea's something different. Liv gives us something different. A lot of the girls give us something different. But a lot of the girls also in there can be quite generic. So it's good to have a girl in there or a woman in there who's kind of a bigger stature and stuff like that, like a killer, basically. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah,
just gives you different booking options. You know what I mean? And it gives you something different. So for me, it's not a bad thing. I'm not too upset at Nia Jackson, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
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 So that's my view on it. But yeah, we look forward to Stephanie Vaquer and see how that goes. Interesting. Good moves from WWE signing these ones. Next up, reaction to John Cena, Chris Jericho. I think it's a cool way to go about it. That's what he was talking about, John Cena's retirement plan. Now we know Jericho likes to wrestle and wrestle and wrestle and wrestle till you squeeze all that juice out of
Oh
that
yeah.
orange. So no doubt he would have been very happy to hear of John Cena wrestling all the way through 2025. I wonder. The only thing it sounded like would be something where Jericho wouldn't like him probably to be one of those guys on that list. His history with John is fantastic and stuff like that, and all. So it is a bit of a shame when you're working for a different organization you can't get involved in something so monumental. You know what I mean? Something so monumental. So for me, yeah, absolutely huge. Booker T was also talking about it as well on his Hall of Fame podcast as well. He says he's put in the work. He's the GOAT. He's done so much for the businessman. He really has. He's been an ambassador in so many ways. A lot of people don't see the work that John Cena did to get to that point. So true and well summed up by our 5 times WCW champion Booker T. So we'll keep an eye on that as more people react to it and stuff like that and all. Let's talk about a little bit about Cody. We'll rack up this image here, of course, where Orton still laser focused on the belt, but no surprise there. Wouldn't be Randy Orton and the Viper if it wasn't. But let's talk about Cody.
Sure.
Cody made an appearance on the Chris Van Vliet podcast, which I think is excellent. I really, really enjoy it every time. Chris did
Oh
an
yeah. It's
unbelievable job over
absolutely
there.
an amazing
Fantastic.
podcast. Did you hear the Undertaker one?
Yes, yeah, but
Yes.
he's one of
Amazing.
those guys that you can tell he does his homework. He really does his homework, and I really like that. But AEW Vice President Creative and Talent Publicity comes to the defense of Cody Rhodes over interview comments. This was on the Chris Van Vliet show. How AEW ended was terrible, really, and people are going to write books later on, and these stories are going to get out there, and then it's going to be a whole new ball game. So this looks like Cody has plenty to say and plenty of stories to tell, but he's holding fire at the moment, probably for timing and probably respect as well. He said to certain fans from the AEW fandom, they need the story to be told, I would imagine. It's interesting. Cody keeps on finding these stories he has to finish, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Everything seems to have a story, doesn't it? They didn't want me. They pushed me out. He was bad. They need that story. They need me to be the villain. And then one fan wrote a very happy birthday message on Twitter. To the president, QT Marshall added, "Tell your best friend to keep his mouth shut when it comes to AEW." Here was QT's response. He says, "Tell people to stop asking him about it. If you can't handle his responses, don't ask the questions. The responses he gives are some of the most politically correct responses. He's sitting on top of the opposition and still keeps his responses classy. It's a good
Yeah.
way of summing up Cody Rhodes, isn't it? Very
Oh yeah,
good way of
agreed.
Cody Rhodes. And I think he was very classy on his exit for AEW, which I'm sure must have been very difficult, when you've, the house that Cody built and helped to build greatly and all and stuff like that. And the way in which it ended felt a little bit weird. They were also talking actually about Dustin Rhodes as well, whose contract is up in September. And they were talking about how he might want to get back with Cody in WWE and stuff like that. And Dustin was making the point that there's no point in jumping to these conclusions. I still have a lot to do in AEW, basically. So interesting from him as well. So that was that. What else have we got? Wanted to talk about this, and I'll get your thoughts on it as well. We take some of your comments now in a second. The Owen Hart Cup, Brian Danielson, I should say, won the Owen Hart Cup. Jarrett in there, of course, Jeff Jarrett as the referee, must have been a special moment and stuff like that. And I don't think a lot of people focused on this really, but I was looking at the interviews backstage then with Jarrett and with Owen Hart's family and stuff like that. And it got quite emotional because they were saying that I think they were talking about in that building or something like that was where one of Owen's kids was saying he's seen Jeff face Owen Hart or something like that. So it was quite emotional. And Jarrett got welled up. He got pretty welled up about it and stuff like that. And also, I'm sure it was quite emotional and stuff like that. Nice to hear his legacy continuing on and stuff like that. I am kind of pulled apart when I think about WWE versus AEW, and I get it and stuff like that. I thought maybe they might be able to do something if, Vince goes out the building. Has he been the kind of the wall to stop things developing there and stuff like that? When I hear of Owen Hart and I hear of AEW, it feels weird to me, but I understand it. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up. So Brian Danielson is off to All In. He's going to be in the main event to, I assume, face Swerve Strickland, which will be a stellar match to say the least. But congratulations to Brian Danielson on winning the Owen Hart Cup. Yeah, Kenny's the same. Owen Hart Cup just seems weird in AEW. It does, but I'm sure we get it because of it and all, Romantic Ireland's dead and gone. It's with O'Leary in the grave. WB Yates. I believe Forbidden Door is the name of porno flick.
You're gonna enter my Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I'm probably not a real one. Probably not a real one. Cena broke your heart. Childhood is gone. It's not gone. You've a good 18 months. You've a good 18 months. What does our friend off AEW say? Drink it in, man. Drink it in. Drink it in. Let's get thoughts then on the Performance Center. 11 years on from when this launched. This was so interesting when it started. You have your first class down there, and also you have the ring set up there. And I seen Bailey tweeted as well on that picture of the rings that she helped set up those rings on day one. So that's pretty cool. I have to say, really, really cool to have been a part of that and stuff like that. And I think it's been a huge success for them. I think at times maybe it was a bit bloated in terms of the volume of athletes and stuff that they had and stuff like that. And I'm sure when the powers that be down there and the likes of Shawn Michaels and people like that who were involved and all others, of course, Albert as well and many others, Norman Smiley and Dusty Rhodes, of course, back in the day before he passed and all. And, I'm sure very quickly they can look at someone and go, you're cut out for this business or you're not. So at times when you hear that's like 180 or 200 athletes down there, seems just like a huge amount of people, you know what I mean? And it's and remember you're juggling with people's life's dreams and stuff like that as well, so
yeah, the Performance Center is like massive, especially when it comes to today's roster. Most of them has come up through NXT. And most of them have made their name in NXT and even Indies before they've come into WWE. They are doing amazing, and they all came for the Performance Center to see if they're truly ready for WWE. It has produced so many stars, it's unbelievable. And Keith has actually just put in what I was talking about.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
Yeah. Imagine Def Rebel studio flooded.
It would still sound better than half the stuff they put out.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Joe's in that corner, all right. Joe, who runs OTT, he was over there at that stage as well. Yeah, absolutely. He was a big part of that at the start. He's there somewhere, as far as I know. I can't zoom in on it. And Keith is saying as well, nothing beats the first NXT roster with Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, Roman, Big E, etc. That roster was stacked.
And
Um,
what's mental is that just those four have been WWE champion. All of
yeah,
them have been WWE champion.
yeah,
That's mental.
it kind of compares favorably, doesn't it, to that fantastic class out of OVW where you had Lesnar and Benjamin and Haas and
Mm-hmm.
Orton and Cena and Batista and unbelievable, like So when they get it right, they really get it right.
Oh,
Uh,
agreed.
Blood and Guts next week on Dynamite. Absolutely. We will take a look at that. Want to get your thoughts in the chat as well, folks, on two things. One, first of all, good old Tony. We can always rely on him for a bit of good old clickbait banter, can't we? Tony Khan claims Adam Copeland, formerly known as Edge, of course, has arguably been on the greatest run of his legendary career. Chat, give me your thoughts on this. I was messing with Russ before we started the show, and I was saying, did his legendary career just begin in AEW? Or was a part of it in WWE, or let me know what you think and stuff like that. But I thought at times he comes out with these hot takes, and they are a massive stretch. I wonder, do they have a department in AEW called the production of hot takes?
Yeah,
Because you get it with a lot of the wrestlers as well and stuff like that and all. So
it's
very, very, very interesting. But yeah, crazy, crazy hot takes at time. So yeah, let me know.
yeah.
Tony is on much harder stuff if he truly believes
Oh
this.
yeah, yeah. I can imagine
100%.
Edge absolutely loves being injured every 5 months. Can't must love it.
Yeah.
Just I'm pretty sure AEW is just full of delusional people. I swear to God.
Keith is in. Tony equals Bell End. Honestly, can't stand it. He knows how to push people's buttons. That's for sure, doesn't he? He knows
Yeah,
because
but
we were all Edge fans. There's no doubt
yeah,
about it.
but thing
Yeah.
is though, right? Even if like good heels and good promoters, when they push buttons, they can sell tickets. This doesn't.
Yeah.
This just makes us.
Absolutely.
This just makes us think, oh, what a knob! Just
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Who's writing
Adam
this
Cole,
stuff?
Adam Copeland's probably on his best run. Really? Did you see him during SmackDown? Are you sure?
Yeah, no, it's a bit mad. I
Yeah.
yeah, like honestly, I look back at the AEW stuff, bar the injury and the crazy stupid stuff and things like that and all. The one thing that stands out to me is just the hug with Christian telling him to go fuck himself. that's really
Yeah.
that's really what sticks out, and it's weird, isn't it? Weird, weird, weird. Don't forget, folks,
Agreed.
tonight AEW Dynamite 250th episode is coming up. Airs from the Simmons Bank Arena in Little Rock, Arkansas. And they are pushing the card out there. So Tony better pray that this hits numbers. Because you've got Swerve Strickland versus Okada, you've got Will Ospreay versus MJF, you've got Mercedes Moné versus Nyla Rose. Maria May speaks. She'll talk about her Tony Storm turn from the previous show.
Oh, what a great turn that was.
And also we have the learning tree with Chris Jericho. AKA the evolution of the list and everything
Yeah.
else that he has done in the past. So that should be interesting as well. But yeah, it looks like it's a stacked show. So probably worth checking out. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. That is the third Dynamite in 8 Dynamites leading to All In. So you got 5 to go after this one and stuff like that in the build up to All In. So there you go. Time flies by, doesn't it? Time flies absolutely by. Sean is in. If you could win the lotto, but in return, Def Rebel have to rewrite the teams of Edge, John Cena, Stone Cold, and The Undertaker. Would you do it?
No.
Um,
Metalingus is way too good to change.
as opposed to a lotto win.
Yeah. I'd argue that John Cena, Edge, Stone Cold, and Undertaker's theme songs, they're a lot worth more than money.
Sacrilege.
Yeah.
Not to be ever touched. Sacrilege.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
especially when you think about it, because Edge is Metalingus by Alter Bridge. Great band if you haven't heard them. John Cena
Absolutely.
is his own. So he did that by himself. Stone Cold is Disturbed. And then The Undertaker is just amazing.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
can't touch them, because if you touch them, then you're touching the bands. And Alter Bridge and Disturbed are two big favourites of mine.
See now that you're saying that stuff, I'm kind of thinking Sheamus the other night goes back to the gorilla position. He goes, that entrance is shit.
Yeah.
And he speaks up. I wonder how long he'll stick with it. Although Sheamus is in there that long, he probably just rolls with it at this stage. He's going to look royalty in there now. He can probably sell out at this stage. But yeah, absolutely crazy.
If he dealt with the rolling brutes, he could probably deal with this. Let's be honest.
Tony is not a booker. He's just a mark with a pencil. Wow.
Yeah.
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. MTV Unplugged Def Rebel. MTV totally unplugged. There you go.
My thing is, though, right, I can't think of anything substantial AW have done since MJF lost the World Championship.
Now, when you say Tony Khan looks like he's being probed, do you mean investigated or probed?
Probably both, knowing Tony Khan.
Maybe. LM Gaming is in. Hot take, I'm one of the learning tree branches. Some people never learn. That's all I'll say. Some people never learn. Right, quick rundown. WWE ranks the top 10 title changes in SummerSlam history. Let me know what you'd like to add to it or take out or what you're feeling on the list, chat. Let me know.
Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. Run down through it.
Bianca versus Becky. Bianca versus Becky shouldn't be in there. That to me is not substantial in any way, shape, or form. It was a 7-second match just to put over Becky because she just came back. CM Punk should be in the place of that match, and then Braun Strowman versus The Fiend should be in there because of what happens after. Because that's the start of the Tribal Chief, and I'd argue that's the biggest character we've got today. And the fact that it's not on there is.
Sean, I was not a nice person to be around when Seth beat Cena.
Nobody likes that.
Do you know, here's a bit of a hot take for you. You see that Ultimate Warrior Honky Tonk 1988? I watch that at least once a week. I am the biggest Ultimate Warrior mark. And I have no shame saying it at all.
That was good. 400 and something day reign to be ended in 17 seconds by Ultimate Warrior. That's good. 7-second match between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. Not good. Not good at all.
I was kind of thinking in the build up to Mania, I was thinking when Sammy was facing Gunther for the belt, I was thinking, you should come out to Warriors music. Be so cool. Be so cool. That'd get me out of my seat.
Have you seen the recent thing on the WWE YouTube channel? Because it was Sami Zayn's Sami Zayn's birthday. He could go and unleash a match from the vault, and it was his mentor El Generico.
Very good. I still, do you know what I miss? I miss that DDT, through the corner turnbuckles. I really miss that. That is just amazing. Sean's in. My parents were watching the Bruce Springsteen concert after it happened, and Jon Stewart hosted, and I told them to turn it off because I couldn't stand his face to gobshite. Oh God, Cena to the grave. LM is in. As a Seth Rollins fan, that title change was iconic. I was younger back then. There we go.
It was iconic.
Gonna have a Sean LM face off. There we go. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some mad ones. That Damon Balor one with Seth, that was the one then he had to relinquish the belt, didn't he, the next night with the injury? As far as I know, wasn't it? I think. British Bulldog Bret Hart. British Bulldog Bret Hart. Randy Orton cashes in on Daniel Bryan. That was a great day.
It was, but Jesus Christ. It took a while.
It did. Yeah, nearly felt like another match
Yeah.
rather than a cash in. Yeah, we'll continue to bring you some SummerSlam stuff as the build up guys, as the road to Cleveland continues and stuff like that. One final topic to touch on. Obviously, stuff came out this week about WWE trademarks, names, and their usage and all that. There had to be clarification on it because apparently people thought that it had all gone away and it was gloves off and do whatever you want kind of thing. But apparently not. On Monday, an online rumor gained traction indicating that WWE changed their long-standing stance and were allowing talents to use their WWE names when they leave the company. Definitely not the case. WWE's policy, which is actually governed by the greater trademark guidelines, if a talent was using a specific name before coming to WWE, the company would not have much of a legal right to enforce that. Partial names are more of a grey area, and the most famous example here would be Cody Rhodes, who at one point wasn't able to use the Rhodes outside of WWE before the promotion turned ownership of that name to him. Under the old Vince McMahon regime, WWE would almost always repackage an incoming wrestler with a new name, character, or gimmick so that the company would own the trademark perpetually. Which I think was a really bad thing to do because I think a lot of these guys had built up huge followings and huge names and huge characters on the independent scene. And then when they came in and they came out as Jimmy McGurty or whatever it is, and you're there going, no, you know. Yeah,
Sometimes
so
it
it's
works,
going
though.
to.
Think of Seth Rollins, formerly Tyler Black.
I don't think coming in as Tyler Black would have damaged them in any way.
It wouldn't have, but I just feel like
Yeah.
it could have been a little bit better. Damian Priest, he
Mm.
really needed a different name. Punishment Martinez, Damian Priest. It just,
Leo Kruger and Adam Rose.
yeah.
When it doesn't work, it really doesn't work. Sure, it doesn't.
I mean, like, Sami Zayn from El Generico was a bit iffy. And then, like, Kevin Steen, he changed his last name to Owens. Why? What's the point?
Yeah. Hasn't done too bad out of it, though. Hasn't done too bad out of it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Although he's named his child Owen, so people think
Yeah.
his child is called Owen Owens.
Yeah.
But
we know it isn't.
no, we know it isn't.
Yeah. What could have happened if Balor didn't get injured? Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? I'm sure he would have
I
had
don't think he
heck
would have
of
had a long title reign. I think it was inevitable that Brock was going to get it at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, probably, yeah. I agree. One other thing we want to ask you guys in the chat about is the Wrestling Observer this week brought up a topic which I thought would be quite interesting. Meltzer and Alvarez were doing it, and they were talking about AEW, and they were talking about how the kind of fall off in AEW and the hot rise of WWE. And they were talking about AEW. Is AEW cold or cool? Because WWE is so hot. Like if AEW was out there at the moment doing what it was doing, and we had WWE in that period where it was kind of unwatchable, about the first 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes of Raw and SmackDown. How do you think AEW would fare then in the eyes of wrestling fans and stuff like that? How do you feel about it? Let us know in the chat. Russ, give us your thoughts on that. Obviously, AEW, it's AEW is one of those ones that you'll either kind of like it or you hate it, or there's a little bit of middle ground, or you'll dip your toe in and out and kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and all
yeah. I feel like AEW as an alternate is really, really good, and I feel like if you want to go back to like the more hardcore days where there was blood and there was swearing and shit like that, then yeah, go watch AEW. But what they lack is the stories that WWE have. So if you want storytelling, WWE. If you want just raw, dare I say, ECW, WCW wrestling, you go to AEW. I feel like it's very, very much on the person rather than like what's going on in the company. So I've always watched WWE, and I feel like the WWE storylines are fantastic and pretty similar to what LM Gaming said. I feel like some of the angles that they're going down, some of the storylines, I just can't get behind. Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay was one of the big ones where you either have swerve lose and you've buried one of your biggest stars for somebody new, or you've just
Mm.
buried someone new for a star you've already made. I just can't get behind them. I feel like they're making poor booking choices. I feel like the stories are not just there. Like sometimes they do stuff better than WWE and stuff like that. However, WWE, they get you invested in these stories, like the Liv Morgan story, like the Rhea Ripley story that's going on right now. I can't think of a single storyline from AEW because it's not been as substantial. They haven't
Yeah,
shocked
well,
the
they don't
wrestling
really.
scene.
Yeah, the thing about it is they don't really do. There isn't really a lot of storytelling or storyline or long term storytelling in there. It's kind of very much hit kind of thing, you know. You get a little bit of it, of course, like maybe if you talk about, let's suppose if Ricochet goes in there, whoever he goes in as, or if he goes in as Ricochet, probably he'd be Ricochet because he had it beforehand anyway. So you'll get that backdrop with Will Ospreay. So there's a bit of story there that's been built in from the indies on a story along the line. But
Yeah,
there's not a whole lot in there that you build from. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes where they've made some of the mistakes is maybe they've listened sometimes a bit too much to maybe the books and to Kenny and to guys like that.
yeah,
And maybe they should have listened to more of the information that was coming out from the likes of, say, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Jake Roberts, Dave Malenko, guys like that who've been
hmm,
around the business a long, long time and seen things. And I think maybe you might be able to develop that. I think as well, the way in which they book the TV shows and stuff like that as well, it doesn't lend itself to it because there tends to be a series of matches and then there's a gap and you get other stuff and then you get another episode and there's a gap and you get other stuff. So there's a kind of a lot of stop start on it as well. So you kind of have to you you can kind of watch it nearly as a standalone show, as if you're just going to a wrestling show yourself.
yeah,
You don't have to necessarily have the background. I describe it somewhat a little bit like, Ring of Honor back in the day, where you're kind of going there to have a little bit to see your wrestling and things like that. But
yeah.
WWE is just such gigantic presentation that
Oh,
draws you in. It's absolutely massive, And I think at times, I think we're probably have to going to come to the realization that it's nearly WWE and AEW are nearly in a different sport, if you like. And it's kind of like where I
yeah,
used to love watching TNA, but it was never going to be WWE. And then when it tried to be WWE, that's when it all fell asunder. So I
hmm,
think I think AEW they need to figure out something that brings us in and holds us there. That's worth holding on to.
yeah,
And maybe develop it that way rather than kind of pot shotting stuff all the time. Um, it's like if you're going to a firing range, you don't want to shoot the same gun every time. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's a little bit kind of weird that way. You know what I mean? So I'm not too sure. I think it is difficult for AEW as well. I think that they've come into this situation in wrestling where WWE has become everything they're touching is gold. They've become as hot as hell. You know, we spoke last week about Money in the Bank and how it's probably the worst PLE of the year. Even Raw the other night, there wasn't a huge amount of wrestling on it. There was a lot of breaks, there was a lot of interference, there was a lot of
yeah,
distractions. You know what I mean? So it wasn't necessarily a really, really enjoyable episode of Raw. But obviously, we know the way WWE does stuff, they'll knock it out of the park again, and SummerSlam will be gigantic, and we'll be back on that train rail again, if you like. But if I was AEW, I detach myself from the comparisons. I detach myself from the shift flinging over the fence all the time and all that. And I just get on with developing that product there, as you said, as an alternative and stuff like that. And
yeah,
also, we'll see what happens though. But certainly, it was certainly an interesting conversation. It's well worth listening to. And certainly, it's a debate that could be had. But I don't know. It's difficult. It'll be interesting to see how Dynamite does tonight. Now, that's a stacked Dynamite for the 250 episode. Surely the rating should pump a little bit from that. And if they don't, then you begin to really start asking questions.
yeah.
Uh, um, watch all the wrestling and stop complaining. All the complaining. We're wrestling fans. We're supposed to complain. If we didn't complain, it should be no fun.
Exactly.
Um, Right. The final thing I wanted to put out there before a little bit of history and notable birthdays was this. Dirt Sheet Radio on Twitter posted this. Darren sent it to me from Thursday Tier Talk. He'll be on tomorrow night, by the way, 9 o'clock. We'll be doing our football roundup and all that. Plenty to talk about, so make sure you check that out. But New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Champion Gabe Kidd has called a Naito versus Moxley match at AEW New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view embarrassing, and compared it to a drunk office workers having a pub fight. There we go. There we go. Roll me. You watch this stuff. Tell us, how did you feel about this? Is this working the audience? Is this old school work, or what is it? Tell me what you think. Machine Hodges has morphed again. He's morphed from Machine Hodge, the Richie Hodge, to Machine Hodge. For the not so young bucks. The not so young bucks. There you go. But yeah, I just put that out there. It was a reaction to it and stuff like that, and also interesting stuff. Get the feeling it's a setup for a match though. But good to see they're out there working that good internet community on it. I enjoyed the match, but Naito is so past it now, absolutely. And it was an exercise in just bringing the belt home, really, wasn't it, Romy? That's how I kind of felt about it. Donald Trump is the new leader of the Bullet Club.
Damn!
Ouch! Ouch! That's shocking. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos coming out this week when he walks out on Raw and stuff like that. And he has the plaster on the ear and all that kind of stuff. So cool. I seen one today as well. I had a picture of the bandage on his ear, and it said, when you order a pillow off Temu. And it was so small on his ear. It was so cool. Some of the stuff they were coming out with was madness. We live in a mad world. Right, let's get into some history. We get going on this and a bit of fun. So let's start off. 1992. After mere months in operation, Vince McMahon announced that the Titan Sports-owned World Bodybuilding Federation, the WBF, would be ceasing operations. I know from that time I followed it, he lost a fortune on that because he paid the bodybuilders guaranteed contracts and massive prize money that the Olympia wasn't doing. He was trying to take the old IFBB Federation out of existence by doing this, but it didn't work. 2002, on an episode of Raw from East Rutherford, New Jersey, former WCW President Eric Bischoff shockingly made his WWE debut when he was announced as the brand's first general manager by Vince McMahon. That was one of those nights where hell froze over, wasn't it? Upon his entrance, McMahon and Bischoff enthusiastically embraced on the Raw stage in one of the most jaw-dropping moments in WWE history. Absolutely. 100%.
And brought back the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, and I'll jump down a few to 2002. Just a day after Eric Bischoff was confirmed as the Raw general manager, Stephanie McMahon returns to WWE television for the first time in nearly 4 months in the position of SmackDown general manager. So there you go. That was a roll on from it. 1988, in one of the most notorious incidents in wrestling history, international star Bruiser Brody is stabbed to death after a wrestling show in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. And if you want to check out the background to that, there's various Dark Side of the Rings touch on Bruiser's passing and stuff like that. Very, very sad. And what a wrestler. What a lunatic, but awesome at the same time. 2001, Bam Bam Terry Gordy, best remembered as one of the fabulous Freebirds, died as a result of a blood clot causing a heart attack at the mere age of 40. The fabulous Freebirds. 2021, WWE SmackDown took place at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. The event was historic in being the first WWE event with a capacity crowd since March 2020 due to the restrictions brought on by the pandemic.
Wow.
There we go. So there you go. 2021, WWE SmackDown this week. 2011, WWE held one of their most acclaimed pay-per-view events of all time. When Money in the Bank 2011 took place at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. The event was heavily built, of course, on CM Punk challenging John Cena for the WWE Championship in Punk's hometown of Chicago. And, of course, we spoke about it last week, the pipe bomb and all that kind of stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. 2005, Lord Alfred Hayes, most famous for his stint as a backstage interviewer in WWE in the late 1980s and early 90s, passed away at the age of 76 after multiple strokes. that rounds out our history for this week. Let me take some comments and then we'll do some notable birthdays and get you
Yeah.
out of here. I hate Bischoff. He loves carrying Hogan's nutsack.
That's a weird way to say that, but okay.
I tell you. I went to an evening with Eric Bischoff and I have to say I enjoyed it. I didn't learn a whole lot of new stuff, but it was really good to meet him, actually.
Yeah.
Freebird Spirit, there we go. What about the Road Warriors and World of Sport? Every week. Every week I get it.
Every week
Right.
somebody mentions it.
Right, notable birthdays. And we start off, this is an interesting one. 1983, Mr. One Man Band, Heath Slater, I Got Kids, celebrates his birthday this week. Jesse the Body Ventura, 1951, Jesse the Body celebrates his birthday this week. 1942, Mil Mascaris. 1976, the leader of the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, celebrates his birthday this week, along with, of course, the brilliant Al Snow, who I've got to meet and had in the shop, great guy, 1963. Speaking of Leo Kruger, hope all you Rosebuds are out there and are ready for this one. 1979, Adam Rose celebrates his birthday this week. Cue the music. And of course, 1991, a man who was over in AEW doing this thing, Hangman Adam Page, rounds out this week's notable birthdays. Let's see what else is in there. Let's finish off. Romy 1. Niall, WWE is interested in Utami Hayashishita. Check her out. She's quality. I will. I'll check her out this week. My God, you wouldn't want to be getting that name on the back of your football jersey, would you? Remember when they used to charge you for letters? Good Lord. That is a name and a half, I have to say. Right, folks, until next time, that has been this week's Pro Wrestling Weekly. Of course, we will continue on the road to All In and on the road to Cleveland with SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. Next week, we'll be back with the usual roundup as well. So, of course, folks, really, really important if you could do this for me. Before you exit the building, drop a like on the video. Really, really important. I've been checking the likes and they're nowhere near what we have in the chat and stuff at times. So make sure you're liking the videos. Really, really important. Obviously, subscribing to the channel as well. We will be back tomorrow night. We're going to be talking lots of stuff, getting Darren's views on the Euro final. Southgate exiting the building. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Man United doing big things in the market at the moment. I'm sure Romy 1, you'll be on to talk about one Lenny Yoro, who looks like he's imminently going to sign for Man United doing a medical today. And from Shane Hodge and from myself and from Russ, we are over and out. Russ, tell them what you're doing this week.
Okie dokie. So coming up on Saturday, as usual, we have the weekly quiz. It is going to be about music legends. Elvis Presley, Elton John, David Bowie, and all those classic absolute legends in music. So if you're into all that, be sure to tune in on JSY Talks Football Show this Saturday at around 8, I believe. It changes every now and then, but I believe this week would be 8. I'm pretty sure Daz will correct me in the chat. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Twitch, www.twitch.tv/minikeboboverlord. I stream on there regularly, and I do not know where I'll be streaming next, but there'll be a schedule up on the channel itself. Aside from that, I'm looking forward to next week in pro wrestling.
Awesome. So until next time, folks, have a safe week. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers.
In a bit, guys.